Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is the 17th of September. 2 more WNBA games for tonight. We'll get through them pretty quickly. Hit the like button for me if you can as you join. Definitely helps out the algorithm, helps out the show. As far as yesterday goes, I know I did a show late yesterday afternoon, and the road favorites did not show up. I thought that they would. I thought the Aces saw something that said they had like a 95% chance of winning the game in the fourth quarter before Dominique Malunga came back in, and they ended up, blowing a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Seattle and Skylar Diggins ended up hitting the game, I guess you could say, go-ahead bucket, even though they were already up by 1 to win the game by 3. So that was I did lose on that bet because I had the Aces minus 1.5 for the series price, and they went to bed in the fourth quarter. Specifically after dominating the third. And then the first game, the Atlanta Dream offense came crashing back down to earth, man. We had saw the Atlanta Dream really, kind of get whatever it is that they wanted on offense in their last few games. Just want to pull up the numbers really quickly. Not that it matters anymore, but I just want to see. So yeah, Dream had the number 1 offensive rated team over the last 5 games going into the playoffs. And their offense played it played decent in game 1. It did feel like it was a lack of foul calls, and the line's already moving for game 3 up from 6.5 to 7.5 on some books already. So Dream are expected to get the job done. But kudos to the Indiana Fever, man. They got the job done last night. So all one night for myself, trying to do a little bit better here today. As far as Jackson, I didn't give you guys a look for Jackson yesterday, but Jackson today likes, let's see, link is in the description if you guys want to check Jackson out. Alyssa Thomas over her assists. This makes a lot of sense. Over 8.5 assists. Minus 127 on Bet Rivers is what Jackson says. Says she's been a consistent playmaker, showing some strong recent form in the assist department. She's hit the over 60% of her last 5 games, averaging 8.4, 70% of her last 10 games with the average of 9.7 assists. Over her last 20 games, she's maintained a 60% hit rate, averaging 8.9 assists, and her season average stands at an impressive 9.12. While the New York Liberty's defense ranks number 6 against assists, which is above the average, Thomas has still managed to perform well against them. This season, she's averaged 9.4 assists in the matchups against the Liberty. This prop also highlights her recent news as a strong play. This prop is also highlighted in recent news as a strong play with a 60.5% chance of hitting the over, which is a 4% edge according to advanced models. Her consistent high assist numbers, especially against this opponent, makes the over 8.5 assists a compelling play. So that is Alyssa Thomas over, and I'll give you guys my thought on that as well. And then Janelle Salon over her 5.5 rebounds. This is one that I liked as well. Jackson probably likes a lot of what I like, but I'll show you guys this on Outlier as well. It says she's been a force on the boards recently, demonstrating exceptional consistency with hitting the over on a rebound prop. She's cleared the line in 100% of her last 5 games, averaging 7.4. Her strong performance extends further back, 70% over her last 10 games, averaging 6.1 rebounds, and 60% of her last 15 games, averaging 5.5 rebounds. Her season average is 5.11, which is also above this line. Even more encouraging in her performance against today's opponent, the Minnesota Lynx. This season, she's averaged 6.4 rebounds, hitting the over in 80% of her 5 games against the Lynx. The Lynx defense ranks 11th against rebounds, indicating that they're slightly weaker in containing opposing players on the glass, which further supports Janelle Salon's potential to exceed this line. Her recent form and strong historical performance against the Minnesota Lynx make the over 5.5 a high confidence pick. So I like that look on Janelle Salon as well. We'll jump into the games now, but the link is in the description if you guys want to check Jackson out. Make sure you are using that link to get 50% off when you sign up. So first game up is this Mercury game in New York. This line open, I saw it go up as 5 and all the way up to 5.5, and I was like, maybe Stewie is gonna play, but that is the big news in this one. If you guys did not get a chance to catch game 1, then you may not know, but Breanna Stewart did injure her knee. She limped throughout the rest of the game, which just was in the fourth quarter. She was able to shoot the free throws. She played the overtime game. You could see a noticeable limp. She listed as game time decision. Sandy Brondello said that the imaging came back, or whatever she had came back relatively clean, I think was what the quote was. So I don't know, man. It makes the game really, really difficult to bet. I did like the Liberty in game one. I told you guys that I like the under. They both cashed even with the overtime. The Phoenix Mercury shot the ball so poorly in that game. I don't think that they're going to shoot the ball that poorly again. I don't expect their offense to look great, but it has to look better than they did. I mean, Satu Sabli was like 2 for 17. I do think that we see a little bit better Satu Sabli in this game. I also think that Kalia Copper gets a fresh start. She, was in foul trouble throughout the whole game, never could really get into a flow or rhythm. And then the other thing was Brianna Stewart was out there playing AT really, really tough in that game. And I do think that, Stewie's not going to be out there. You're going to have to rely a lot on Emma Miesemann, which Emma Miesemann is good. And I expect the bench to play a little bit better. The New York Liberty bench had 2 points. That was with Kennedy Burke being out there going 0 for 5, Emma Miesemann going 1 for 6. Rebecca Garner played just 1 minute, but she didn't score either. Izzy didn't touch the floor. Nair Sabli didn't touch the floor. And I know Maureen Johannes is out of the rotation. So if Stewie isn't able to go, which I like in my heart of hearts, I feel like she's not going to play, but I'm completely speculating. I think if they can give her an extra day, they think that they probably could be able to go back into Phoenix and, win that game. But we'll see if she plays. She is going to be a true game time decision. If she does play, I can't imagine that she would, be 100%. So I lean towards the Mercury in this game, man. I'm not going to bet it quite yet, but I do think the Mercury can get the job done. If we go back and look at it, the Mercury have played really, really well in New York for whatever reason. I remember them being on the second leg of a back-to-back after beating the Connecticut Sun earlier this season. And they won that game. This was on what game? This was on June the 19th. Won that game 89-81. And they won the season series 3-2, which is why they were able to get the home court advantage in this spot and host the tournament, even though host the playoff matchup, even though they weren't able to win the game the other day. So as far as the total goes, if Stewie's not out there, I do think that that's going to impact the defense a lot. I think Alyssa Thomas is going to get a lot of whatever it is that she wants. Stewie played 40 minutes in game one, and she was a team high plus 16. That's important in my opinion, especially her defense on Alyssa Thomas as well. Alyssa Thomas is a dog. I expect Phoenix to be able to come in here and win this game. That's the way I'm looking at it. I can't lay 2.5 points with the Liberty in this spot. I do think that the Phoenix Mercury are live to win this game. That's the way I'm looking at it. From a player prop perspective, Emma Miesemann, if you get her numbers, I think she's in a nice bounce back spot. Also, Jocko Jones played terrible in that last game. She shot just 3 for 7. This is the reigning MVP of the WNBA Finals from last year. She played 35 minutes. She just wasn't as effective. Sabrina doesn't look like herself yet either. 6 for 18 from the field, 3 for 12 from the three-point line. She finished with 16 points. It was just a +7, which actually was the lowest out of every starter on the floor. Not to say that she can't come back home and, light it up, but I do think Cole McConney's defense is really good. So I think we'll see more minutes from her. I think Sabli, she was better than 2 for 17, better than 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And Alyssa Thomas still had a pretty efficient game. She wasn't efficient offensively, 7 for 18 from the floor, but she still had 9 rebounds and 8 assists. So looking at AT is never a bad deal, especially with their backs against the wall. So I say all that to say, if I'm betting player props, probably some Jocko Jones, some Emma Miesemann, but we'll see if Stewie actually is out there. Enough time on that game. I hate speculating on the game and not knowing who's actually going to play, but I do like the Liberty. I do like the Mercury, plus the 2.5 in that game. Next one up, last game is the Valkyries and the Minnesota Lynx. Clearly, I did not switch these logos around, but we know that the Valkyries are no, I had it right. Yeah, I did have it right. Yeah, the Minnesota Lynx are on it, bro. I'm tripping. All right, so yeah, Minnesota. This game's actually at Chase. Not at Chase. I'm sorry. This game's not at Chase. It's at the SAP Center, or SAP, whatever they call it, the SAP Center. It's in San Jose. So it's about, I looked it up, it's about 50 minutes south of Chase Center, which is where the Valkyries have played. I said this the other day, but I think the Valkyries, that ball hauler, it means a lot to them, in my opinion. I don't think that the Valkyries were anticipating, I don't think Chase anticipated the Valkyries to make the playoffs as an expansion team. So they already booked it out to like some kind of tennis tournament or something. So I think that's, why they aren't going to be able to play at home. How much of an impact does that mean? Who knows, man? Like Natalie Nakase came out and said Valhalla isn't necessarily like a place. It's a mentality, which I like that. That sounds cool, but we'll see if it actually comes to fruition today. If we go back and look at game number one, the game that was just played, the Lynx absolutely got the best of the Golden State Valkyries. And it's interesting because on Sunday, the Valkyries were actually winning the game. They were up 28-21 at the end of the first quarter. And then they never had another 20-point quarter. They never even had a 19-point quarter. They scored 12 points in the second quarter, 18 in the third, and 14 in the fourth. Their offense is not great, right? We talk about this all the time. They are the third worst offensive rated team, but defensively, they do play well. Now, what do we see defensively out of them on Sunday? Absolutely nothing. And Natalie Nakase, had some quotes after the game where she was just asking for fair play. So, will she get the hometown whistle tonight? Probably so. I think so. I think that she does. Are the Lynx a far better team? Absolutely. Offensively, they're light years better than the Golden State Valkyries. And the Valkyries also still have Tiffany Hayes listed as out. So that's another offensive player that they'll be down today. If I'm betting the game, and I know it's absolutely ugly to do, I do think the Valkyries can cover. I think they can at least stick around early in this game. We've seen the Minnesota Lynx play with their food early. We just saw it in the game one. It wouldn't surprise me if Golden State was able to cover this spread in the first half, is what I would think. Plus 5.5 you can get. I think there's a +6 right now as well. This is the thing. The Lynx have won every single game. These teams have played 5 times so far. Lynx have won every single game. They've covered 3 of the 5 spreads. The 2 that they didn't cover actually came in Golden State. So for whatever reason, they haven't been able to cover in Golden State. The first one they won by 6, and they were a 12-point favorite. And then they won by 6 again as a 6.5-point favorite. So the Valkyries, I am expecting to play a little bit better. I do think looking at the box score and just watching the game, Minnesota got to 101 points. And that total went over just because they were able to score so many points. I think we see a little bit of regression from Minnesota. They are the best three-point shooting team in the WNBA. They did shoot 42% from the three-point line, 51% from the game in their last game. I don't think the Golden State defense can go out like that, though. They will lose the game, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be by giving up 100 points, especially with the new arena, right? We always talk about new arenas, new sites. Like teams aren't completely acclimated to being in that new gym as well. So this total being at 151.5, I'm not betting the under just because I think that's a tad bit too low. But I think the Valkyries defense will play a little bit better. The Minnesota Lynx team total is like 80.5. That's a pretty fair number, in my opinion. Minnesota should probably be able to get to 80.5, even against the Golden State Valkyries defense. So I don't necessarily want to bet their team total under, but I do think the Valkyries will hang around. This is a different site, of course, but if we go over to real quick, I'll show you guys. Let's see if I can get it pulled up real quick. I'll show you guys the a lot of people know this already, but I'll show you guys the ATS numbers for the Valkyries at home. Let's see if I can get it pulled up. I can't. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. You guys should be able to see. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So Valkyries at the crib in the first half are 12, 1, and 2 against the numbers. So they cover, 15 times? They've covered 12 of them with 2 pushes. Yeah, 5.5. I think first half is the best number. And you can see the Lynx's road favorites are also just 3, 14, and 1. They just don't come to play. You see Natisha Heidemann doing all that stuff with her hair and makeup. Like I don't know. It's almost like they're making a mockery of the Valkyries. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I like the Valkyries first half. And then as far as the player props go, and that's Moneyball if you guys are interested in checking it out or are new to the show. As far as Outlier goes, as far as player props go, so Veronica Burton, I was thinking a lot about Veronica Burton. I talked about Veronica Burton on Sunday, thinking that she would be the player that's going to play the most minutes, especially without Tiffany Hayes being there. You come in here, you can see she played 34.5 minutes. And this was with the blowout, right? Like the game was over with at the end of the third quarter. She still ended up playing 34.5 minutes. And you can see that she's over this 24.5. So they bumped it up. I think it was 22.5 the other day. But she's just going to be out there, right? She's going to have to rebound. She's going to have to pass. She's going to have to make shots if they even have a chance. So Veronica Burton going back to the well over her 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I do think is a fairly good look in this game. She had 14, 7, and 5 in this game. And then you expect the role players to play a little bit better at home. So maybe she, dishes a few more assists. She's going to have the ball in her hands a ton. And then the other play was on Janelle Salon. We talked about Salon, her rebound prop. I was looking into this as well. Jackson liked the over 5.5. And you can see that even in the blowout, she was able to get to that number. She's going to be out there because they need her for offense. She's probably the best three-point shooter, her and Xander Seeley, that they have on the floor, on the team. So, yeah, she'll definitely be out there. Can't forget about Katie Martin. They got some three-point shooters. They just shoot so inefficiently. So you can see she's over in 5 straight games, 7 of her last 10, averaging six boards. And I do think if we expect the Valkyries to play a little bit better defense, then that's going to start with, players like that's going to, ultimately impact some rebound opportunities for players like Janelle Salon. So those are my thought processes on all the games on both of the games for today, man. Whatever it is that you bet, best of luck. Golden State first half, plus the 5.5. Veronica Burton over 24.5 rebounds, points, and assists. And then Janelle Salon over on her rebounds as well. I can't really call the Mercury game without knowing if Stewie's going to play. But I do like the Mercury. I think the Mercury have a chance to win that game and send it back to Phoenix. I expect them to shoot a lot better than they did in the last game. So that's my thought process, man. Check out the resources. All of them are linked in the description of the video. And hit the like button for me on the way out, man. I do appreciate you all for tapping in, showing love throughout the whole WNBA season. And we'll be back tomorrow, man.